Welcome to another edition of Throwing Down Some Heavy Light. My name is Jamal Binding. I'm the host and also the chair of the board of Movement Omaha for Race Equity, which is an organization that's primary mission is to address and talk about anti-racism issues and accountability and transparency. With us today in the studio, we have a special guest, William King Jr., who's the manager of the Boss Radio program for many years and a longtime community and media host, and he will talk about issues impacting the African American community and the current conditions that keep folks from achieving their goals. Mr. King is a graduate of Midland University in Fremont. Mr. King was a probation officer. He also at one point worked for Mayor Fahey. This program will raise many issues, uncomfortable for those who go along to get along, and we are facing some challenging times in our community. Folks are questioning our inability to move forward as a community, and particularly in Omaha, Nebraska. William King Jr. understands the pulse of the folks and works to broadcast those eyes to the masses. I invited William to my African American class some years ago to discuss his media experiences as well as some of his advocacy work on behalf of the Black community. This was a Black Studies class at UNO, and there they rarely invite community members in to talk or advocates in the department because they lack that essential link between advocacy and African American advancement. William has been one of the many guest speakers in my class through my tenure at the University of No Opportunity, and he was one of the first hosts who invited me to talk on his program. We hosted a television program on Cox Cable Channel 22 many years ago, and some of the young whippersnappers don't know about that. William King, welcome to Throwing Down Some Heavy Light. And first, I want you to share a little bit more about to the audience who you are a little bit from your perspective.
I appreciate the invite. Of course, I'm raised here in Omaha, born actually Riverside, California, by way of my dad was in the Air Force. So I've been here since 3 months old. I claim Omaha. I love Omaha, and I'm never going to live anywhere else. I might live somewhere else part-time. Shouts out to Fremont, Nebraska. Without a doubt, that's where I went to college for 4 years. So I did live there temporarily.
There you go. There you go. I was in Lincoln. We used to crack on it. You were one of the first African Americans I know who attended Midland College and graduated from there. And I attended UNL much earlier than when you went to school. And we consider Midland and Fremont College, not a university, a real racist place. Lincoln was the same way racist, but Fremont we saw is much more racist. What was it like being an African American living and attending college in Fremont, Nebraska, particularly in the period you were there?
Well, we broke many milestones because growing up here in Omaha, even though I grew up in North Omaha, one of my best friends was white. His mom was white and his dad was Black. All the other kids came out mulatto. He came out pure white. and so I went to school with him. And then, growing up with busing, going to Adams, and then that ninth grade center where they bus white kids into North Omaha, and my experience at Bryan High School, I was very, very culturalized, very, very culturalized. And when I went to Midland, I took that experience with me because I went to school in the 80s where there was brothers that never went to school with white folks. They were from DC, Detroit, Chicago. They have never went to school with white folks, and vice versa. Of course, I was going to school with white folks that never went to school with Blacks. And so I was able to bridge gaps. That was basically my real role as my freshman year. All I heard was rock and roll, Styx, AC/DC, Genesis. They wouldn't play none of our music. But about my relationships, what my mom taught me, she never taught me to hate white folks, even though she picked cotton and she cleaned white people's houses. She never passed that burden on to me. And that's what they talk about, passing sins onto your children. You pass on those negative things onto your children, and they perpetuate the same thing. So I was able to walk in any door, every door, because she didn't teach me to hate anyone, period. And so I was able to, of course, I followed the instructions of my mama. Majority of times. Most of the times, I didn't get in no trouble. I made sure my grades were great. Initially, it was of course it was tough that my freshman year, but by the time I made a promise to one of my teachers, who I needed to change a grade so I wouldn't be ineligible, because I couldn't go back home and tell my mama that I was ineligible, especially my freshman year, when my mom couldn't read and write. I could not go home and tell her that I was failing when she could not read and write. And so,
William, let me ask you. You said you grew up, you were from California, but your mom picked cotton. How did that happen? Was she from the South?
Yeah, she's from South. My mama from Alabama. No, excuse me. My dad's from Alabama, Alabama. My mama's from Sumner, Mississippi, where
Okay.
where they had the trial for Emmett Till.
Oh, okay, over there. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's where she grew up.
Wow.
My mom said she got up. My mom, she was one of 15 kids, I think.
Okay.
She was
Wow.
born. She was born in 1930.
Oh, wow.
The plantation house still stand. We took her back home before she passed. The plantation house still stand. And so my mom said she got up one day and she told her brothers and sisters, her mom, her dad said, "I'm not gonna be pick cotton all my life." And so she left Sumner and went to Biloxi, Mississippi, and started working in a restaurant, one of our cousin restaurants. And my dad met her at one of the restaurants. You know, back in the 60s, they married women quick. You know what I mean? They married women real quick. These days, people don't get married at all. But once they found someone that they was compatible with, they got married quick. And my dad swooped her up, and the rest is history.
Okay. Let me ask you some other question here. We we're in very critical times here in this community, and we got two presidential candidates that will focus on many issues that some of them may not be of concern of us, and we sometimes have to pick the lesser of two leaders. It's coming to our attention that you're a Republican and you plan to vote for Donald Trump. This essential, I guess, is essential, or this decision is essential for you. And our viewers would love to benefit from your perspective. How do you arrive at that notion?
Well, I'm actually a Democrat. The reason why most people think I'm a Republican is because what my mama taught me. She taught me if someone treats you good, you treat them better. And the Republicans have treated me a little bit better than the Democrats have, mainly because I'm a truth teller. Maybe I constantly remind the Democratic Party that they the original slave party. Maybe because I'm a king, and they like to assassinate kings like Martin Luther King and Rodney King. You know, and I speak the same truth because why can't we just get along? So I'm made different. My mama called me the March Wind. She called me the March Wind. I'm like this, I'm like that. It's based off the information I get. I'm going to switch up because I had good toolage from coaches where I had to adjust my behavior immediately. You
So
know,
let me ask you this: how do you deal when someone challenges you of saying you support Republican concepts and ideals? How do you deal with that? Because I assume, knowing how the Negroes got their lips all wrapped around the Democratic Party, and some of them are, some of them are on everything. Now, again, I can see being on different issues, but how do you react when they come at you? And I assume someone come at you harshly, telling you can't do what you want to do as an adult. Help me with that one.
oh well, my mama, my mama could read and write, baby, and she picked cotton, so can't nobody tell me a damn thing, because I'm pushing towards freedom. I'm standing on their shoulders, and so they can't tell me nothing. Especially, I'm a Million Man Marcher. I was at the Million Man March October 16, 1995, and my mama come from neology. She couldn't even read the Bible or Quran, so I'm made different, and so and coming from the projects, but also being a probation officer, being on both sides of the fence. But also, you mentioned Fremont, Nebraska, where they would not put my picture in the Fremont Tribune
Why is
until
that?
because I was black. They wrote about me. I played
That's
basketball,
cool.
ran track. I was all conference, all district basketball. I was all American in track. They'll write
We
about
talking about in the 80s. We ain't talking about the 40s and 50s. We talking about in the
80s,
80s. These all
It
teams were like that back
80s,
then, huh?
80s, 80s, 80s. So what I did my senior year, I got tired of it, right? But my degree is in behavioral science, and I'm very, very smart, without a doubt. And so I use my intellect to fight back. And so my roommate, I asked him to hold up a sign which said my roommate picture has never been in the Fremont Tribune, and he held it up, and all the brothers and my white homeboys and homegirls, they protest at the game while I was playing. My mama and them was in the crowd. Oh, I forgot who was playing. Had about 30 that game, hit the last second shot. But I protest while I was actually playing basketball.
Wow. So
So
that's
so
how
so
you was
so
able to, that's how you was able to deal with some of that crazy racism and Fremont. They still got the same
so
white supremacy mentality in that town right now. I'm aware of that.
So the best way to attack it is when you hear a lion roar in the jungle, you don't run away from the roar, you run towards the roar. And so I ran towards the roar, and I got my sister involved. The NAACP, I think it ran under Brother Hogan back in the 80s, got involved. In my last game of my senior year, They took a picture. I was at Dana College, and they put my picture in the Fremont Tribune. So I've always been a fighter. I was always been an underdog.
I say back in college, you know, some of these lazy students in college, university, they don't even know how to do anything. And I read into the multicultural affairs, UNO, to some of those leadership. Negroes ain't responding to nothing. They're all scared of their shadows. But I'm gonna switch up and ask you a different question. We're looking at your resume. You have a diverse experience, so on, and it's clear you've had various experiences in college, and now it's now a university out there. You've been in many jobs, and at one point you were instrumental in the Democratic Party. What made you change your political affiliation? Are you still a Democrat voting for a Republican, or you just that's how's that? Because I know one Negro told me he was a Republican but a Democrat in sheep's clothing. And I ain't gonna mention his name. He was city council, former black city council person, but that was his from his mouth to my ears. I couldn't understand his mentality of hiding his party affiliation because this is a free country, right?
Right, right. You know, I use my free will. God give us free will, and then also I use the philosophy of my mom. She says, if someone treats you good, you treat them better. And so, like I said, that I've been treated way better by the Republicans. They advertise, they do business with me. I reached out to the Democratic Party had shouts out to Precious. She did reach out to me a couple of weeks ago. So shouts out to Precious in regards to advocating, you know, the Democratic platform. But maybe I'm too critical. Maybe I'm too truthworthy. I know originally we were Republicans before my cousin and them, with Kenny and them, you know, changed our philosophy from Republican to Democrat. So that's why we're Democrats these days, because of Brother King and Brother Kennedy. And so I understand that both are necessary, both parties are necessary. So I use the philosophy of Shirley Chisholm, one of the greatest women, one of the greatest Black women on earth. She said, there's a table, you pull your own chair up to the table. And
Right.
that's how I am. Period.
Yeah, I know these Negroes, these handkerchief heads and these lap dogs and apologists, they just sitting in the corner, ain't busting the grape. Again, all I gotta do is look, do a Google search. You want to learn about some of them. And I don't understand how people could be around as long as they are and be milk toast or acquiescing to this obvious cold-blooded stuff that goes on in our community.
Well,
The
you
other
know
thing
what?
I'm gonna look at some of the one of the things I want to talk about with you, I gotta ask you is I look at some of the self-destructive conditions in our community. There's been insufficient ways that we have communicated to the masses. I know you're in the media. What are the gaps and how can we increase information to folks? Even though we have poor education, some of us can't read and write because we come from the Omaha plantation or pacification school. But how do you help us deal with learning about the media and then communicating to each other, even though we have a real dismal level of graduation in these systems and so on? So how do you address that from a media perspective or from your the boss perspective?
Well, you know, first I look at my weaknesses and listen to people um, critique what we're doing wrong and what we're doing right, and I focus on what we're doing wrong in order so we can be a complete package. And so that's totally what I'm focused on: our sound, our quality, et cetera, et cetera. As we continue to grow, we're gonna be in existence 10 years. We're the longest, we're the oldest Black radio station in the history of Nebraska. Period. And so I want to make sure we continue that philosophy by, you know, creating a great methodology, working with those across the aisle. We cannot. Johnny Rogers says it all the time. It's not big enough if we're doing it by ourselves. And if I come from a Democratic platform all the time and not open it up to the Green Party or the Libertarian Party or the Republican Party, we're limiting ourselves. And I'm never one to limit ourselves. They did that to our ancestors. I'm never going to do or perpetuate what they did to our ancestors.
Gotcha. You know, I was talking to Terry Sanders some months ago, and I think one of the issues I raised was her readership or her circulation. And for years, we had no clue what the Omaha Star circulation was. It was talked at 5,000, whatever. She threw out a number of 1,500. A similar question to you. What is your penetration level and what kind of media apparatus in terms of numbers of contact that you reach, particularly in our community and maybe the large community? What are we talking? Demographic.
So right now, I say that we reach at least somewhere to 30 to 50,000 people daily that listen to us. We reached the whole metro area though, 800,000. I never want to limit myself because when it comes to Nielsen ratings and other ratings, no one really knows. I mean, we're in a diary market, so of course we get a market share.
Wait, use the word diary market. People know what that means. What does that mean?
So markers that's 1 through 50, they get a meter in their office, and they can kind of gauge by the antenna um, on far as the frequencies. Here, if you're in a 50 or above market, which is the Omaha Council Bluffs is top 75 market, that means Nielsen's going to send you something in the mail. You got to fill it out that you listen to this radio station or you watch this TV station, and then you mail it back in. I think they give you a couple of dollars. And a lot of people don't. You got higher literacy rate. People got so many other variables that sometimes they forget to send those things in. So you're not really truly getting a measurement. So I always tell people we reach 800,000 people based off FCC statistics.
Gotcha. Some African Americans are critical of many of the comments you've made and you continue to make on your station. I've heard a couple of gadflies and folks say something to me. Would it be advantageous for you to go along to make more funds, as many so-called Negroes and leadership in this community do? In other words, don't make any enemies and just say only the positive news and don't rock the boat if you want to increase your market share with people who want to be your friends or something like that.
Well, I like competition, period. How we gonna get better if we don't have competition? And adversaries, that's just part of nature. You always gonna have a predator and a prey. That's just part of nature. And so I'm just adapting to the human mentality. My degrees in behavioral science, so I expect some people to love me, and I expect some people to hate me. Just reality. And then we also so-called use the example of Jesus, who they say was the most perfect, and he still was hated on and killed by his own people. Almost every advocate of love and justice have been killed by his own people, from Marcus Garvey, or betrayed, from Marcus Garvey to brother Drew, to Martin Luther King, to Medgar Evers, to everybody, to Nat Turner. Everybody that's been advocating the freedom of our people, they get destroyed in some capacity. And I expect it. I'm a king, baby. I'm made for this, for real.
Thank you. Slipped that in real smoothly. One of the things that you're about to age around 50 years older in that area. Yes, your age
59. 59, fine, baby.
59. Okay. I just try to show you some love and say you're in the 50s, and you know how to do that. Yet you understand many of the challenges of many of the youth experience. And again, I'm one who's old school, so I don't understand some of the bubblehead and some of the silly asinine stuff that goes on. But you tend to link between both groups and you understand where folks are coming from. How do you keep your feet in both worlds?
Well, everything that I've been able to achieve come from young people. We really blew up. I was talking to my man Willie Vincent, one of the fastest men in Nebraska history. We was at the gas station, Brian Newman gas station, before they kicked Brian Newman out of here. He was the only one that really owned a gas station around here, and they messed him around. But I was getting some gas, and I had built my first radio station on my house using Part 15 technology, but I needed analytics, and I was talking, and Brother Vincent's son was there. He said, "Well, man, a good buddy of mine going to Morehouse. He developed apps." And so I got in contact with the brother named Trey McKay, Trayvon McKay, and he developed my first app at 19, and I blew up. 1690 AM The One blew up. We was able to start doing community shows. We was doing podcasts before even podcasting was even a name. I was doing that stuff about 10 years ago. So when people come to me with podcasting and streaming, man, that's old. I've been done that. I'm FM, baby. We're on a whole different level. And I still stream. And we still stream. But streaming cannot compete with FM. Without a doubt, it can't. It reached 800,000 people.
So most people don't understand the difference between streaming and FM. FM is just basic radio station. You go to a dial on your FM station, right? And
yep,
streaming, is that always meaning the internet then when you use
always internet. And the reason why radio always gonna be number one, is still number one, and it's never not gonna be number one, is because it's free.
Okay, you don't have to pay.
Let the be free. It's in your cars, and you don't even need a battery. They got radios where you can just wind it up.
Right.
They also got batteries where they also got radios where you can put it in the sun.
Right.
Internet, you need power. You're gonna power. You're gonna bill. You ain't getting nothing.
Got you. one other thing I want to ask you, what kind of corporate or nonprofit support have you received and continue your mission and the program on both your radio stations? What kind of financial support do you get from the corporate world or from nonprofits? What are you
It's been
talking?
it's been a variety of people, from white organizations to black organizations, Hispanic. I get support from all. I get support from everybody. From probably one of my main supporter consistent over the years have been Charles Drew, Metro Community College. Those are probably the two biggest. Of course, when I'm doing events, I get all kinds of sponsors, from the little guy to the big guys, from politicians, white people, black people. I get all, but also I guess some people that I expect to support me that will not. So I tell
What's that
everybody,
about? Why is it they won't support you?
because I don't kiss ass. I don't kiss ass. I'm not an ass kisser. I'm a mere man marcher, without a doubt. I'm a god. I bring things from the abstract to the concrete. I believe that, and I know it's a fact. I study too many ologies. Everything starts with a thought, which is in the abstract. The radio station, I went to rich white people, I went to rich black people. You know what they said? No. But you know who didn't? God didn't. And then
So you trying to tell me God came down and gave you some money? Help me with that.
No. Well,
I mean, because I'm thinking the real reality, as we say.
Okay. Let's not even go in the spiritual world then.
Okay, because the only spirits I know is what you drink when you go to the bar. Okay. Those kind of spirits. Okay, keep going.
So I do believe in that we're energy, and there's a higher energy.
Right.
So I believe in that. So and you can't destroy energy. So and we exist from somewhere. Somebody did something. So
right.
wherever it happened, because I don't know the truth. I don't believe in any religion. I have respect for any religions. I have respect for all religions, but I'm spiritual. I went to a Lutheran college, Martin Luther separated from Catholicism. So all y'all peasants, all y'all Protestant religions like Baptist, African Methodist, Episcopal, all y'all come from Martin Luther. Y'all come from Martin Luther. The real church is the Catholic Church. That's the only real church that everyone derived from. So I'm trying to get back to the Ethiopian Bible. I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to find what's the real knowledge. And so only thing I can base it off is my feelings. And when I was at the Million Man March, I felt a higher being. And so right now, I do everything. I walk with one step, and I have faith that God's gonna take his two steps. So
what I was really trying to get, you said God gave you the money. I'm trying to figure out how did God hand money out from heaven?
Well, actually,
or is that a metaphor?
Actually, it's a metaphor.
Okay, so you lost me because I was like, I'm gonna tell you.
I'm gonna tell you how I got the money. I got the money through the CARES Act because I read legislation. I'm going to Washington, D.C. next week.
Gotcha.
Okay.
No, I was trying to give you a hard time because I'm like, man, Malcolm said, y'all call on that wrong God. No wonder he don't pull y'all off that lynching tree.
Right. So I'm glad you remind me and redirect, because I read legislation. I got the radio station from legislation, and I apply the same knowledge. It's called Schoolhouse Rock. I'm only a bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. I learned that as a child, and I followed that philosophy, getting the radio station and getting the internet company. The reason why I like Trump is because, my two favorite presidents are the two most hated presidents in history of mankind. I love Obama. Obama legislation gave me the Local Community Radio Act. That's how we got the radio station. Shouts out to Lee Terry, because Lee Terry wrote the Radio Act. And that's why they hate me too, because me and Lee Terry are good friends. And then shouts out to my man Donald Trump. Donald Trump wrote the CARES Act, which allowed internet funding all around the country. And also he started the ACP, which now ran out, which gave subsidy to everybody in the country for internet. And so without Trump, y'all wouldn't have that. And so I was able to get monies through the unit camera from Ricketts. Shouts out to Ricketts. They hate Ricketts too. But I read legislation. I took advantage of the legislation. And I was allocated $200,000, and we was able to build in the poorest city probably in the country, Macy, Nebraska, which only had one store. And so
you're talking about the Indian reservation up in Macy in the Winnebago area. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Omaha tribe in
Okay.
Mason, Nebraska. And so all that came from legislation. So when they talk about racism and all this other barriers, it's just like gravity, baby. We gotta find a way to get around it, get over it, get through it.
No, I understand. And then the issue
I
that I
mean,
find somewhat sad is some folks are not thinking enough of options or alternatives to their existing situation, and they want to sit down and get mealy mouse and not bust a grape. But also, you just mentioned the Macy and Winnebago, and I know you had something to do with that. Was in the media that you helped them get the radio station. So, is there a radio station existing right now as a result of the work
no,
that you did up there?
no, actually, we built internet infrastructure. We provide internet service like a Cox Cable. We're an ISP, internet service provider.
So if I wanted to turn on to a certain, I can hear the native folks in that area.
No. We're like a Cox Cable. We're like a Cox Cable. We're like a CenturyLink.
So what? Help me understand what you mean by that. I can't hear what they're doing.
So no, it's basically internet service. We're internet service provider. We provide internet service for the people, so they can pay for internet.
Okay,
It's
that's basically what it is. Okay, I got you. Not like it's a radio station. I got you.
it's not a radio station. It's an internet.
And they didn't have it beforehand.
Yeah, they had a company up there, but that company was charging them,
Crazy amounts of money.
Yeah.
But some people think Cox and Central are charging crazy amounts of money, and we complain about that. And it's just
Well,
crazy how much you pay for stuff. Some cities, the internet is free. I think in Washington State, some cities around the country, the city picks up that tab so that everybody has equal opportunity, equal access, broadband, you name it. And I've heard a lot of complaints about parts of the city, particularly North Omaha, they don't have high-speed internet on the level of some of us who live in other parts of town.
And the reason why it's not racism or anything like that. I want people to.
Well, what is it then?
It's old infrastructure.
What does that mean when you say old infrastructure? You got old wires and old things in our community, and they have brand new wires in there.
Yep. So everything, I think east of say Second Street, because Cox Cable was started downtown. It came out this way. Then I went out west. So we got some of the oldest infrastructure. When Cox came here when it was in the projects, I think we can start getting cable. I thought, or maybe I know over when I moved to fifth grade, we started getting cable, and so it's coax. Most is coax, but now you see Google coming through here. You see CenturyLink coming through here. They starting to lay fiber, so it's starting to come. But the newer areas, they built that because it's newer, and so
I understand that makes sense. Well, I do know I made contact with some of those bureaucrats or functionaries in Lincoln. I talked to some guy there, and he talked about broadband in rural communities, and I asked him about what are they doing in North and South Omaha, and he supposed to get back to me. The functionary never got back to me, but
I was disappointed in our telesenators. I told them before. I mentioned it before, and I brought them on my show. I was disappointed that they did not allow internet funding to come here in North Omaha, even though
it's public funds and it should go all over the state technically, but they only concentrated to those rural areas.
Everybody else, now I can go after money for rural areas, and I'm going to do that. But I want to build here in Omaha, Nebraska, where I grew up, where 40 to 50,000 kids can't get adequate internet because they can't afford it. Cost is too high.
Well, we saw during pandemic, and again, this whole digital divide, particularly in the public schools, I had some of those kids in suburban areas already had laptops and internet, and then many of these low-income families didn't even have computers, laptops, so they gave some tablets out, and I think they also gave some kind of apparatus so they can get on the internet. But what's unfortunate, it really took the pandemic for us to finally come to realization is that we do have a digital divide, particularly with low-income people and people of color, who don't have the technology or the income or money to constantly be there. And and I know that if you're at the university or you're in any higher education, you almost have to have access to the internet to get a lot of information because the print stuff is kind of drying up in our community. I was going to ask you another question related to your experience. I know you talked about your background in behavioral science, but I know you've done a lot of your work in the media and the stuff you've been recently just talked about. Mm-hmm. What advice would you have for people who want to go into the media industry or be a journalist or something like that? What would you tell them, regardless of their age, if they want to be one of those conduit to help people to get more information about whatever?
I tell people that they already in the media. If they're texting, that's writing. If they're taking pictures, that's photo journalism. If they talking, that's reporting. So they already do it. They just got to find a way to monetize their skill set. Another way was CETA for me, working the
when people don't know, some people, young folks don't know what CETA mean. We old school know what that is because some of us in the program.
Or right now the current Step Up program ran
Okay,
by
got you.
a network. Same
Oh,
philosophy. They
step up. Ain't that a drill team, man? Step. Oh, is that real turn or right turn? What they all know what these clowns call these names these days.
Yeah.
Step up. Okay. Old school drill team. Okay, whatever.
So they have, I think the 14 and 15 years have career exploration where they go into different careers and explore. So my first experience with a TV set blew my mind, and I already knew what I said. This I want to be a motion picture cameraman. So that's how I got involved in TV at the college. That's why I was in public access TV with Reverend Reynolds over at CTI for so many years. And then when the radio thing came available, I took advantage of it. And so my degree is in behavioral science, and I always ask God, what's the common denominator of raising our people? And it's the word. It's the word, but it's actions behind the word. Just not you just preaching. No, we leading by example. That means we gotta walk. We gotta walk those walks.
We're getting ready to open up, but before we get off, you use the word monetize, and one of the issues that we sometimes wrestle with is: do we provide free services to our community, or do we try to earn a living or get some money out of it? How do you arrive in terms of the work that you do, but what's appropriate considering the different audiences that you serve and all the big as the city is? How do you arrive what's good, and how do I suspect other people in the media industry determine the value of their services and what it's worth? How do you have any formula? Or, how do you define that?
I approach it differently. Brother Ben Gray and brother that did Comic Ground. What's his name? But Ben Gray told me, he said, man, this is a business. And so however, I come from a nonprofit or a helping philosophy. So I had to approach it twice, both ways, business, but also I had to have a price point where someone that have $100, they still get advertised, or have $200, they can still advertise, where they wouldn't be able to advertise on the commercial stations. And so I had to teach at the same time. That's why I consider our station a research radio station. We're the only research radio station in the world.
What do you mean? You lost me use the word research. What does that mean in media?
So my goal is to modify behavior so we're better individuals, better family members, and better citizens. So today is Wednesday. We call it Winning Women Wednesday. I'm a former probation officer, so I know for a fact that the most unreported crime is domestic violence, both ways, men and women, to children, and also to the most vulnerable, our elderly. And so we bring attention to it every Wednesday to acknowledge the women in your lives, from your daughter to your great, because they go through so many abuses at work, at the store, by random dudes, you know what I mean? So they go through a lot of stuff that's disrespectful all day long. And so we just want to just let them know that they're important, and that they're necessary. So Thursday, we call it Love Yourself Thursday. You can't love anyone else unless you love yourself. And so I command that you do something that indicates, that prove that you love yourself. And so usually I hang out with my grandkids because I want some unconditional love. For real. And my grandkids give me unconditional love. All they want to do is play, eat, and maybe go sleep. And I'm going to sleep with them because I'm 59. So, you know what I mean? But on Friday, I call it Black Friday. And I call it Black Friday because they should sell us on Black Friday. You know what I mean? And so I twisted that and said, if you're from the Black diaspora, it's our responsibility to support those of the Black diaspora that's in business. It's our responsibility to support our brothers and sisters in business. So if they made money on us, we could make money on us. And so these are behavioral things that we put in action, and we're purposeful so we could change our behavior. So that's why I said we're the only research radio station in the world. And sometimes I do experiments, and one of my greatest experiments, and I still got enemies off of. Some people still don't talk to me. I call it reap what you sow experiment. And I knew when I dropped names, some people will forgive me and some people wouldn't.
Wait, hold on. You lost me. You drop names. What do you mean drop names? You mean you call people out and
heck
yeah. Bad?
When I got COVID and I got a pneumonia at the same time, and I survived, and I saw when I was, getting well, I saw that our kids was failing OPS. We had the highest, dropout rate. World Herald reported that Omaha, Nebraska was the only city in America where the Black incarceration went up. Everywhere else went down. Something else happened. I think we had the highest STD rates, and we continue to have the highest infant mortality rates. And all I saw was, and then there's supposed to be a separation between church and state, and the state told the church to go home. I said the church should have been the biggest, the boldest. When the pandemic, this is when God should be showing up. But they went home crying and whining and afraid. And so I went after ministers, because y'all supposed to be standing up for God. Y'all supposed to be afraid of no damn virus. If you working for God for real, you afraid of a virus? They went home. The churches, they dancing. They teach the people how to spiritual dance, and our kids are failing. You teach them spiritual dancing, and our kids are failing. And then we got the highest, the most smartest individuals in our community, the frats and sororities. You know what they was doing? Dancing, and our kids are failing. Everybody dancing, the preachers dancing, the frats, and then the economic report that we the poorest. And so I went after all the politicians who was in charge while we was getting poor. I dropped names, and I told the people, and I went after liars too. I went after liars, and I dropped names, and I did it for 2 days. And some people are still mad at me. I don't care.
Well, you told me, I don't know if you're supposed to talk about, but you said somebody tried to physically threaten you by elected type people, politicians.
Oh man, I tell you, when you're a true teller, you gotta be ready to fight, baby. I'm ready to fight too.
Physically, these calls. All you doing is throw out some heat at them because they didn't do nothing.
I got threatened my life by 2 women. One woman's running for office right now.
What made them threaten you? Did you call somebody name out or call somebody out? What did you do to make somebody that angry?
I name names. And I call people ugly.
Well, ugly is a subjective word, man. One eye may be beautiful and lovely, and the other person be ugly. Did you call an adult ugly, man?
Yeah, I call somebody ugly. I ain't gonna say their name. I won't get no more credit.
Well, I thought everybody was looking good around here, man. I'm surprised you called people ugly. Yeah. Well, anyway, we about halfway through, but I want to just we got somebody else in the set. Also, we got some Facebook Live out there. Anyway, we're gonna open it up for folks who want to ask William King a question or anything related to the program. Raise your hand and come on in. So if you ever hold your peace, if you want to keep quiet, because we can keep talking all day. William, I do appreciate you inviting me way back, and I remember you came to my class here throughout the heavy light. The second time I remember you got a little preachy for me. I kind of like tone you down, like, man, this ain't no theology class. Get out of here, man. We talking black stuff, black people, Afrocentric. Because Malcolm says, leave your religion at home when you come some circles, because that's what divides us sometimes as Africans. You know, we get all in our religion fight. We don't want to talk to each other, you know?
Right.
Somebody else, anybody on the line want to jump in? He said, oh, hi, yeah, just talk. Can you talk? Can we hear you? Say something. Is your mic open? Or type in what you want to type.
No, I want to talk. Can you hear me?
Okay, we'll talk. I hear you now. You go say something.
How you doing? It's in my yacht.
How you doing, bro?
All right. Now, I heard you said you be calling them out. Now, brother, you know I got a lot of respect for you.
Oh, yes, sir.
I have yet to see some of the issues that's going on in the community, like with some of our oppressors, police department, the injustice down at the courthouse. And I don't ever see you speaking that on the radio. I don't never see you calling out some of the people like the police and some of the brutality and the injustice going on. I don't never see you calling them out.
We don't.
In fact, I'm going to say this. Let me say it before you ask this question.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I don't see no one out there that's kicking up any dust that'll make white folks mad. No one, none of them. Not you, not Omaha Star, not the Black Man Million March or whatever. I mean, United Black Men or nobody but Sherman Wells.
Mm-hmm.
Now name one thing that your radio station kicked up some dust that really meant something, that was protecting and did something for the Black community. Not nothing about the education or go vote or here's free lunch. It's something I really like, the police brutality, because there's a lot of that going around. Tell me something like that your radio station did.
Well, you know,
Because right now, I'm gonna let you answer, but right now, I
okay.
remember now when that Black lady came to you. Remember when the police jumped on her and shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got into it with Willie Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't remember your radio station ever broadcasting that or nothing.
Well, you
That's
know,
kind of stuff I'm talking about. Go ahead, bro.
well, since you mentioned that young lady, she came in. They visited me, and she came in with her.
Hold on, y'all talking about an incident that our listeners don't know what you mean. What
Okay,
happened to this lady that
I'll
made her
tell you.
incident with the police department? So explain
I'll
it.
tell you what happened.
Hold on, succinctly, like, because we want to get to this answer quickly. But yeah, what happened to this woman, real quick?
Well, the woman got jumped on by the Omaha finest. Police beat her all up at the damn hospital, took her kids, everything. Then she went to Willie Hamilton. This is after the charges was dropped and they gave the woman back her kids. That's all she wanted was justice. And she went to Willie Hamilton, and Willie Hamilton, a Black man unite. Now you gotta understand, a Black woman is going through some problems. Quite natural. You see it.
Hold on, we're trying to get to the answer. I want to get to, so the Black woman got beat up by the police department, and you went to Willie Hamilton. He didn't do nothing. What else happened, real quickly, to the woman? William answer.
He told her, ain't nothing I can do right now. I'm busy right now. Go down to Willie King. He'll help you out. Go down to the radio station. Now, this is Black Man United. And then,
okay, gotcha. Okay. So let me respond. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so when she got to me, she of course she told me what happened. She came in with her daughter. You know, myself being a former probation officer and a law enforcement officer, and she being a woman, no one's going to protect her but her. People always going to say, I'm going to do this and do her, but she's going to be with herself and her children by herself all this time. And I'm from the 60s. I know how they did my mama and them, the police. So, and I saw the fear of her daughter because she wanted to talk about it. And my advice to her was that it's in the past. The charge, I guess, was dropped, and I didn't want her to be targeted because she is a woman and she is by herself, and her children were afraid, and so we don't have Black men like Brother Maya said that's protecting our women. We don't have no protection for our.
Let me interrupt because I'm surprised of this train of thought. Help me with this a little bit. Why not go to the NLRC, the Urban League, follow police report? Because all that stuff, would it help?
No, hell no. The last time the NAACP was strong was when Reverend Reynolds was alive.
Let me interrupt for a minute. What I'm saying is situations like that, you don't talk about that on your radio station. Let me give you a prime example.
It's not my job to talk about crime every day. My job is to talk about the rehabilitation of our people, so we have to deal with crime.
Okay. So we know your job. Your job. Okay.
And then, bro, ask you a question. And then in this last, and I talked about this in this last. There's been what 26 complaints filed against the police.
No, 62, and they didn't find favorable one person.
They didn't find nothing
one
wrong.
person of 62 people.
So I talked about that. I talked about that last week. You don't watch every show I do. You don't watch me 24/7. Every issue they talk about that's wrong, I talk about it. I'm the only one to talk about it. Period. I got the biggest mic. Period. No one talk about it. So did you know about those 62 complaints that no one got that police got away with? Did you know about that?
I put it in my paper.
Okay, I talked about it also. I talked about it.
More than talk about it though. That's what I'm talking about. Just like let me give a prime example.
Also, you know, but people don't even know what you're doing. We finished our program because you know they just passed a law that all felons can vote now. Did you know about that?
Yeah. I've been
Okay,
voting.
so no, that just passed. That just passed.
I've been voting as long as it was stipulated.
No. The new law. It was 2 years after you're at the paper. Now you can vote immediately. You can vote
Okay, they say
immediately.
that because felons could been vote. I've been voting.
The law. Hey,
But
brother,
go ahead. What you ready to say, brother? Go ahead.
Hey. I follow legislation. I'm real smart. So
Okay.
I'm real smart. So the new legislation, since
I
I'm
understand. What was you ready to say?
and that affects everybody. You talking about one case? I'm talking about stuff that affects
I use
everybody.
one case as an example, but let me tell you something right quick, bro. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm saying. Now, just in Minnesota, where I come from, there was a incident. You can see it on the internet. A brother went to a white bank. I'm just showing you something that happens anywhere, and the reason why here in Omaha, people still ask there's blacks in Omaha because there's no unity. But let me tell you this: a brother went into a bank in Minnesota, and white folks called the police on him, said the check was fake, called the police on him. It got to the community. You know how fast they jumped on that? How many community leaders was on that bank? If something like that happened in Omaha, please, brother, let me finish. I'll let you take it. If something like that happened in Omaha, we got all the black media, we got 2 black papers, we got a black radio station, we got 4 black judges, we got 17 so-called black leaders, we got a whole group of black men united. If something like that happened in Omaha, that brother, you can't go nowhere and get no support or no help. Y'all just gonna say, well, I don't know, go down here, you might want to get an attorney, you might do that. What I'm saying,
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, brother. Were they there? Were they there?
Maya, hold on.
Were they there for Floyd?
Let's
Were they there for George
William say
Floyd?
something. Okay, Maya, let's
I
come
mean, were those same people there? Were they people? Did they save George Floyd? All the people that you talk about, did they save George Floyd?
Did they save him?
Yeah.
We did enough. He went to jail, didn't get away with the shit.
No, they wasn't there, brother. They came after the fact.
Well, what do you mean that they saved him? What are your point?
The reason why George Floyd died because they didn't do nothing beforehand. It's been police abuse been going on for about 500 years.
Forever, the police was
500 years. We're talking about 500 years.
We didn't lay down. Other places not laying down.
Yes, we did. Well, I mean, we're not laying down either. But brother,
right now, let me ask you this: something happened to a black person, and where could they go to get some support here? Black Man United, NAACP. Where we gonna go?
It depends on.
Well, let me interject because I know this has become a two-way conversation that we also want to get resolution. I'm throw out here. One of the things I know that Sarpy County started, they started ombudsman because right now we know the police department is corrupt. They're dirty, they're racist, they're sexist, they're everything and above, and they run like they should be brought up under racketeer RICO charges. Again, look at their behavior, look at their lack of numbers and so on. You got the judges in our state, they're in bed with these same folks. You look at Supreme Court of Nebraska, it's all white. They look, just take off their black robes and make them white with the white robes, and you know what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is, we cannot play these games as folks, and we can't have these pacification programs and education department that don't challenge it, because at the end of the day, you don't get the data and the stuff that's been going on for all these years with these slave catchers and these people who want to enslave people again, and they get their jobs because they know each other, nepotism, corruption. Look at the city hall, look at county government. You're talking about the dirtiest places in the city. And again, if we got to pay taxes to these racist personalities, we should get a tax rebate because they're not hiring us in there. But I'm gonna go, King, I want to ask you a question specifically, going back to the media. What responsibility do you have, and Maya is kind of alluding to the same self, all of us, to make sure when this stuff goes down, we at least go on record? Again, sometimes you can't stop a situation, but you can affect it after to a point where it will happen again somewhat. But what would you say this makes us a little bit more strong, get a little bit spine in our jellyfish backbones in the city? Because I don't understand how black folks could be living for as long as they do, some of them, and you don't have one sheet of paper, one position paper, be from some of these ignoramuses, illiterate, comatose personalities. How do you live in a society that's like this and you have no record? So my question to you is, what can we do to address what Maya and you are alluding to, so there's permanency, though we don't have to keep reinventing the wheel?
Well, I think we need to support. Everybody needs support, and everyone's different. Omaha Star, she'll tell you for a fact that they just report good news.
Well, there's no such thing as good news in the black community only. Come on now, even in the white community, there's no such thing as good news. That's asinine, stupid, and insidious. Even say that in this day and age.
So everyone had different philosophy, just like my man Maya. My man Maya, he has a different philosophy. Everyone have different philosophy.
Philosophy, reality.
Well, I'm up for the fight. I'm going to challenge him. I'm down there right now. Like he said the other day, you never heard of a judge being voted out. Have you ever seen the community try to vote a judge out?
Well, I vote no for unless I know.
Have you ever seen the community try to vote a judge out?
I've been here all my life. I haven't seen it, but I also know
never have.
We've been directed not to do certain things. That's how it goes in this community. That's when you got these toothless bulldogs running around here barking, but they ain't got no teeth in their mouth. I understand.
I'm bringing that to the table now. We got a judge that's coming up for retention in November. August, we're having a big argument to overturn what this judge ruled on. She said, that's the one that's when I saved my son's life, I got an obstruction of justice charge. Said because I begged with the police, please don't shoot my son. He's on the ground. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. That's in the transcripts. The cop said it on the stand. That's all I said, and I still got found guilty for obstruction of justice.
Well, that's corruption. It's obvious it's corruption and racism. Right. These people hate us. Okay.
So the thing is, I want her off the bench. She goes for retention. November the 25th is her November the 5th, I think, the election. Okay, right. She can be voted out. We only need 50%, and it can happen.
Okay, let's let William come in because
bro, I agree with you, and majority of the time I vote no for the judges unless I know them.
Well, you know this one.
But the problem is again, and that's why I focus on us. We don't vote. So we'll never vote them.
Well, that's why I'm going to promote this like I'm running for something in office. I want her off the bench. She shouldn't be on the bench. Our people need to know about it. I'm asking you.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm just saying that we got to figure out how to get more people involved. Again, we're not individuals by ourselves.
Right now, you got a podcast, you got a radio station, I got a newspaper. It's three voices right here can make it happen that the people should know. And I got already in Supreme Court. It's going to be heard on the at 9 o'clock. It can be broadcast. It can be on your station. It can be everywhere, and the people can listen to my lawyer trying to get that overturned. What that judge said, black folks don't even know that's been said.
So the Supreme Court is going to allow that to be a public hearing.
It's going to be a link. I will have the link. We can we can listen to the whole.
Let me switch up because again, I don't want to focus exclusively just on this per se because we have a whole different topic. Exactly. But share the information with us. Let's see what we can do collectively to deal with it. But the thing that you're saying is very important, and the thing that I keep coming back to is we got to do it collectively as a community and a group. And that's where we get stuck on stupid because sometimes we fight these things individually and they outnumber us. As Malcolm says, we out organized. Not that nobody's smarter than us. They just out organized because they pick and choose how they pull us off. And it's part of the problem of Omaha.
And then
go ahead, bro.
And then Maya, you've been in the same situation, and so we gotta be wise because you're a target. You're a target. I'm a target. Shit. So and if there's only two of us, that's how they killed us in the past. We need more people to have more voices.
I make them kill me though, but see, I'm not even worried about that. I make them kill me because I'm gonna stand for what I believe in. But let me say this: I've been fighting it for 2 years by myself. Now it's going up for Supreme Court.
Right. You already said that, man. All I'm just trying to say is we collectively got to figure out the next steps.
Now I'm asking for support. I've been fighting for 2 years by myself.
If you give us a link, we'll broadcast it. That's no brainer. I have no problem.
I'm asking. I need support now.
Okay, you got it, man. You got it. Okay.
Yeah,
we good.
Yeah, we got. I'm pro. Making sure that our people know.
I want you to know I got a lot of respect for you. I love you. We ain't got to bring up what I said yesterday, but if I offend you, I apologize.
Wait. This ain't no Ann Lender's program. Get off my set talking about apologizing. Ain't none of that shit love fest
Well,
going on.
Hey,
I
hey,
meant
Y'all
what I
hey,
going
said.
somewhere else with
I
y'all
meant what I
private
said.
beef.
hey,
Well, I
On
meant
my
what I
shoulder. We
said.
talk
I
about
just
I
didn't mean to hurt
apologize. For what?
no,
wait a
no,
minute.
but
Didn't mean to hurt the feelings. I meant what I said. I'm saying what I was feeling, but I didn't mean to come down like, because I like you, bro.
yeah, without doubt, bro. And you know, I address it as men, and we should have the ability to agree to disagree and still love each other.
And you know what, brother? We all got one thing in common. We got hair on our chin.
Right.
I heard Tariq one day say it should be against the law for a black man to walk around with his face all smoothly shaven. I thought that was so funny. Like, what they got to do with the price of Kool-Aid, man? Some people like to shave, some people don't. But it was funny how you said it. Tariq used to say some crazy stuff on 22, man. I don't know. I still think about some of his comments he made. It should be against the law to walk away unshaved. What do you think? We Al Qaeda or something?
Right.
That was
Well,
funny.
but don't bro like that need to come back. Like you said, Tariq and the Gainies, you know, the old soldiers that's been around. Because
Yeah, young people don't understand that. They don't have that experience. I can see the way they operate. They think they the ones who started the movement. And some of us old school know, hey, we've been out here fighting this for years, and we stand on our ancestors' shoulders. And some of these young whippersnappers try to stand on our shoulders, but they slip down because they're in another world. We're down to our last 5 minutes or so. And William, I want to give you a chance to kind of make some closing comments, some issues you might want to share, and how can people catch up with you and be more in tune to what you're doing in our community.
Well, I want to thank my brother Maya for coming in, chiming in, because I want to let them know, and then also let the world know that we have the ability to agree to disagree, and that's how we need to move forward. Every relationship we're not going to agree on, but we at least have respect for each other, and we can compromise so we can get to the final conclusion. Everybody that's black want freedom. They want justice. They want liberty. No one on earth have fought more than black people for justice, freedom, and liberty. And so we just got different philosophies on how to get there. We just got to just sit down, strategize, and implement a new plan. That's why I consider our station a research radio station, and I focus on us. We can't control what everybody else do, but I know we can control us. And so that's why I focus on us, especially not putting ourselves in a situation so we can be in the arms of law enforcement or being in a hospital bed because of our bad behavior from Thursday through Sunday. My ultimate goal is to, of course, to continue to build small business. Of course, continue to brag off our neighbors because we play their music. I advocate. I get calls from the jail all the time to play music, and I get brothers that get out of jail thanking me for advocating that for them to do right. So my goal is to make sure I stay healthy as long as possible, so I can continue to create as much positive havoc as possible, and then also continue to link up with brothers like Maya, and then as well as yourself, who are different thinkers. We have to come together in order to to give a philosophy, to give a new path for the next generation. If we don't create the conduit of opportunity, who's going to do it? So that's why I speak strongly. That's why I speak truth to power. That's why I call the big house mass in them. You know what I mean? And so, and I walk in the room with them at the same time. I walk in enemies' doors because it's necessary. Death is inevitable. They already killed 2 of my brothers at 19. I'm not afraid to die. I don't want to die yet, though. So I try to treat people with respect, but I know how to fight for real. I know how to fight without a doubt. But also, the pen is mightier, and that's why I'm going to Washington, D.C. next month to lobby, baby, because we got to follow the money. We got to follow the money if we're going to turn our situation around. But also, we need we need to develop a strong black male coalition, and so
Right. Yeah.
so when things happen, it can't really be addressed, and it's not silent. That is so true that we need a voice. So where you at, Masons? You know what I mean? You know what,
folks, we're down to our last 30 seconds. I just want to close up by saying thank you, William King and Maya and so for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed this edition. Hopefully have some other controversial, challenging issues, and we can't be standing on the sidelines and bystanders and just victims. We also got to be able to push back and challenge the situation, because we're going to see some trying times in front of us. We got 2 people running for office, and it's a one rat over another rat. I say that very seriously. It's something you have to vote for lesser of two evils. But at the end of the day, folks, history should determine our fate by what we do and not by just being innocent and standing on the background and doing nothing. So we hope you enjoyed this edition of Throwing Down Some Heavy Light. Join us for another edition. We're going to bring some more information. I think the next program we're going to talk about white privilege and the whole concept of deconstructing whiteness. So join us again as we throw down some heavy light. As we always say, may the force be with you. Baroko.